leaders, and you're exactly right. It's all about the scout team, and that's what we've challenged our scout team to do is, to come in and watch the lecture film on their own, do as much walkthrough as they can. And I know last night was a really good, really good job by that group, and that's going to be a key to our success on defense versus offense.
You just mentioned you're starting a true freshman, obviously, Mikey Keene. You guys had, I think, 3 practices during the bye. How was it? How did he look in that role?
Yeah, first of all, he's earned the right, to be our number 2 behind Dylan even before. He's got something to him, I believe. He had a great high school career. He's used to winning. I think that's very important. And just the way he's handled himself, since Dylan's went down, I've been very impressed. I think he can operate our offense. And there's nothing like the real thing, though. There'll be some learning things. There could be some growing pains, but we got to be better around him. That's really been our message. Just challenge everybody that, let's help him out. Let's be better from a coach's standpoint and then player standpoint. Everybody raise their level.
Past few years, historically here playing Navy, there's always something very interesting in that practice leading up to it, with the unique preparation, what they run and stuff. But kind of an intangible that you keep hearing about from players throughout the years too is that they're very crisp on what they do and they don't really talk a lot of trash. Is there anything you do different to prepare that for that kind of mentality and unique intangible stuff they bring as well as the offensive uniqueness?
No, there's discipline in what they do. They're very good at it, and the uniqueness, I think, is the biggest challenge. They've played, 2 or 3 different quarterbacks. It looks like they've settled into their plan, after that off week. But no, they're a disciplined team. I think they're leading the league in non-penalties, which doesn't surprise you. You got to play good, clean football against these guys. Like I said, their head coach is one of the best in the business. He's done it for a long time, been very successful for a long time. So you got to be disciplined with them.
In what ways is Mikey's leadership style different than Dylan's?
That's probably a better question to ask after we play the game. But he's an attention to detail guy. Dylan is too. But Dylan's a real calm guy. Even on the sideline. So we'll see what see how Mikey responds to everything. But the good thing that you got going with Mikey is he's used to winning. He's a championship quarterback in high school, and I think that is one of the biggest factors. That when you get a freshman that's taken over, that he's used to winning. So I think that's good.
Coach, despite their loss to Houston, Navy had a lot of success with rushing the ball in the first half. What do you like about them on film, and how do you plan on continuing to stop the run?
Yeah, they hold the ball. That's what they do. They do a good job of keeping the other offense off the field. I know in the first half they did a very good job of that against Houston, and then they went for it on 4th down a lot too. So you got to have good 4th down defense, and then strategically, from an offensive standpoint, we just got to see how the game goes, with everything that goes with it. But that's what they challenge. They are a little bit unconventional compared to this day and time, and I think that gives them an advantage in a lot of ways. And just trying to keep the offense off the field. We got to do a good job of not letting that happen.
Coach, what about making sure that Mikey is getting what he needs compared to Dylan? Obviously, much less experience. GJ and yourself, is there anything different that you do with knowing he's going to be the starter this week?
What we've done is we got some good information from the spring, fall camp scrimmages and all that, and what he's comfortable with and what his strengths are. Really trying to build around those strengths, and we did the same thing with Dylan. Obviously, Dylan's an experienced guy and provides a lot of different strengths and all that. But just kind of knowing him, and I think Coach Kenny's got a good grip of that, and trying to build around what we feel like he can be successful with so we can play fast and not have to think a lot and just play football.
Coach, was there any particular moment, maybe in the spring when you got here about Mikey, that kind of just jumped out? He's only a true freshman. We're in the back of your mind, and you're not expecting what's going on this fall, but just kind of think back, this guy might be a pretty good guy down the road. Is there anything that jumps out at you?
Yeah, we were wide open, for our number 2 position since we've been here, and it was a progression that his consistency really stood out. When we went scrimmages, he found a way to get us an end zone, and so really it was a combination of all the above with those different things. But he's earned that. He's been very consistent, very steady, and like I said, we're just going to build around his strengths.
Who's going to serve behind him? Is it Joey Gatewood or Quadri or who's?
Yeah, Joey will continue to have a package like he's had. Joey's got, you know, the number 2 reps. You know, he just got here, you know, 5 weeks ago or whatever. He still has some learning to do, but he does remember quite a bit from the past. And so we'll continue to do that. And Parker and Quad, and, you know, they're getting reps also.
Coach, obviously after the Louisville game had a laundry list of guys that got nicked up. What can you tell us about how much of that injury list has been crossed off and how restored you'll be going into this game?
Yeah, first of all, I'm going to start with Matt Lee. He practiced last night, which I think is good. You know, he's one of our better all-around football players. We're very hopeful we'll have him. Everyone else is week to week still. We're not still ready to see. You know, later in the week we'll have a lot better idea, you know, of that. But that whole list, it's a long list, you know, is week to week.
What progress have you seen in the last week in tackling as you're going to face this triple option team that's going to be paramount?
Yeah, I know T. Will every day does tackling drill. That's the foundation of our defense and his approach and all that. And so, you know, we'll continue to get better with tackling. They do present different challenges because they are, like I said, a little unconventional this day and time. And you know, you gotta play assignment football, and you gotta stop the fullback, the quarterback, and their wings. So that's a challenge.
Coach, how have some of the leaders on this team stepped up their game on the practice field and in the locker room heading into this week?
Yeah, you know, this past week, I mean, you could not tell it was an off week. A lot of times from a coach's standpoint, an off week, people let up. And you couldn't tell that from a player's standpoint. And I think that says everything. I was real curious to see how guys respond, but they responded like champions. And like I've said before, we got a lot of champions in that locker room, and a lot of veteran leaders that's been through some ups and downs, that understand how to lead. But I'm real pleased with our leadership.
Coach, obviously Navy's a different kind of program with the commitment those young men dedicate their lives to after their football days are over. Have you ever played a military academy? Have you ever maybe had the opportunity to go to one of those academies, Army, Navy, or Air Force, and kind of see a football game?
Yeah, at Army. Went to Army, I guess it was in Tulsa. It was 2007. That was my first experience, and it was a dogfight. Went down to the end, and they were very disciplined. And it, you know, you got to play really good football, especially when you go there. But you know, there's a lot of tradition and a lot of different things that go with that. But you know, we've got to be prepared.
Coach Becker, how important is this game with it being the very first conference game for the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's conference schedule now. It's got to be completely different. And doesn't matter the first 3 games, they're in the rearview mirror, and then they're behind us, win, lose, or draw. And so it's a new season, and we go on the road with a true freshman quarterback. That's probably my biggest stress right now. But we're playing a very you know, worthy opponent with one of the best coaches in college football, and so we'll have to play good, clean football.
Coach, I know you and your staff went out recruiting last week. Really the first opportunity with, you know, future Power 5, Big 12 status in your back pocket. How did that go? Just kind of checking in on
It went real well. And everything's changed in the last 2.5 weeks since that announcement. It's definitely a new day. It's a new day in recruiting. Like I said before, there's a lot of new interest that wasn't interested before, and so we just gotta get the ones that we have circled.
How was it just to be back on the road, out recruiting again after a while?
Yeah, it's always great. You know, for me, being a former high school coach, you get out there with high school coaches and be on the road and watch high school games. I mean, that's one of the fun parts of this job.
Coach, going back to Mikey real quick, amongst the other position groups or even a particular player, who do you think has to step up most to kind of help him ease in on the coming game?
Yeah, I mean, I think the center is probably the main one, you know, so we're hopeful we'll have Matt. That'd be super. But it really is everyone, like I said. I mean, it's everyone's got to raise their level, especially when you lose one of the best, if not the best quarterbacks in college football. I mean, you got to raise your level. Coaches, we got to raise our level. So it's really, that's been my challenge to our whole unit, that let's be better around him. So it's not really one position. It's really everything. Everybody's got to play better. The great thing for us is we had an off week. And it couldn't have come at a better time, not just for the quarterback, but because we've got other injuries and all that. We got to heal some guys up. Some of them young guys, we got to give them, you know, more reps, and you know, we did that this past week, so we're hoping that'll help in the long run.
I know you mentioned a lot of guys are week to week, but specifically Isaiah Bowser, how is he doing?
He's getting better, but like I said, we'll know later in the week. You know, it's not ready to make any calls right now on really any of those guys.
Coach, I'm not sure if it's official yet, but it seems like the NCAA is going to allow up to, for roster management scholarships, up to 7 players who are transferred out. You can replace those players with an expanded signing class. Assuming that goes through, how big would that be just for future class or the class coming up next year?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It'll be a real positive for us. There's no doubt.
You mentioned the Navy coach is one of the best coaches.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna try to say his last name, but Coach Ken, I guess.
Ken.
Have you ever any history with him or any?
No, just I've talked a little bit with him from time to time, but just that respect. I've always just watched him do his thing and the way he handles himself, and he's a real class guy and one of the good guys in college football, and that's the type I root for, and so it's a really neat deal for me to be able to coach against him.
Debuting a freshman quarterback, advantage to being on the road? Is it a preference there and where Mikey would make a debut?
Well, I mean, if you had your choice, you'd rather be at home, but we'll do the crowd noise like we normally do. We'll try to be as simple as we can so we can play fast. There's obviously things you have to do, but the good thing is he's handled himself very well in scrimmages. That's what we have to go by here, and I really believe our team has a lot of confidence in him. I think that's really important too, and he's earned that.
Good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.